Hey everybody, this is Athletes and Antiquities, and today we're going to talk about EX era and Diamond and Pearl era, and why I think these cards are about to get real hot real quick. I am so excited for today's video because it is all about EX era and Diamond and Pearl era. These two eras are my personal favorite eras in the hobby. I think the art is beautiful. I think just the whole time period around this with Ruby and Sapphire, Emerald, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, when you get into the Diamond and Pearl era, like Platinum. This was the peak of the franchise, in my opinion. And I am biased because this is the era that I grew up in. And the reason why I want to talk about them today is because I think that this era is about to get a very large spotlight. A spotlight that this era hasn't seen before. And along with that may come sharp increases in demand and maybe increases in prices too. We'll have to see, depending on how much hits PSA and stuff like that. But why do I say that? I say that because the age group that collected these cards, the EX, the EXs, the holos, the reverse holos from these eras, we're now just hitting the age group or the point in our lives where we have disposable income. So I'm 22 years old. I graduated college a few months ago, and I got my full-time position at my new job about a month ago. So now I have a salary. I'm living well below my means. I'm saving a lot in like a 401k and stuff like that. But I have a good amount that I can now spend on the hobby that I didn't have before. And I'm not saying that as like some weird brag, like everyone in my age group is experiencing this. We're now at the age where, oh, that $100 card feels a lot more manageable to buy than it did before. Before you were pinching pennies, but now, oh, we have a salary, I've budgeted for this, I can afford this card. And I think our age group is gonna buy up what we're nostalgic towards. We're gonna buy up this kind of stuff. It's what I've been doing. I've been buying up PSA 9s and PSA 8s of the cards that I was most nostalgic for as a kid. I'll go into a few of them and then I'll kind of talk more about the market in a bit, but like this Wailord. This was one of my first purchases, like my first EX purchases, because first of all, it's a beautiful card. Just the Wailord on the picture, it's beautiful, the holo in the background, but I remember as a kid on the playground, I was probably 5 or 6 years old, and we were all collecting Pokemon, and one of my buddies was telling me how he had a Pokemon with 200 HP, and that blew my mind. I thought he was lying. There's no way a Pokemon has 200 HP. That's way too high. That's way too good. Everything else had, like this Lugia, it's 100. This Groudon, 120. This Rayquaza, the Master of the Air or whatever, is 80. Like 200 was unfathomable. And when he showed me, I was just like, this is the best card ever. It has to be. And so I remembered that on the playground, wanting this card so bad. So when I had my disposable income and I said, oh, I want to buy back parts of my childhood, that was one of the top cards on the list. This Lugia from Unseen Forces. This Lugia from Unseen Forces, I remember because a friend of mine, when we were both in like church school, as like on Sundays when like the adults would go into church, would go into like little like church school, and I don't know, he pulled out this card from his pocket. And first of all, the art was amazing. I loved like the sinister look of the Lugia. But I remembered this specifically because this card had gone through the wash. My friend had like left it in his pants and his mom washed it or something. And if it wasn't for the sleeve it was in, this card would have fallen apart. It was like mangled and like split up in a bunch of areas, but because it was in that sleeve, it was like kind of protected in a way. Like the card was destroyed, but it wasn't fraying or anything because it had that plastic over it. And it was still the prized card of his collection, even though it looked like it was ran over by a car. So when I was looking into this era again and I was able to afford this kind of thing, I was like, oh, I need to buy this card. This is like, I have that memory from my childhood. And so I know I didn't want to bore you guys with too many of those stories, but that's just the kind of thing that like my age group, we're gonna come in and we're gonna want to buy back this stuff. The gold stars have been big for a while. Those are, I mean, they're out of my budget. I'm not gonna be getting any gold stars. Maybe the legendary dogs, because the market's so out of whack on those because of the guy that stole them all. But for the most part, Gold Star's out of my reach, so we're gonna be going for EXs, holos, and reverse holos. But how does this compare to WotC? So currently the people with disposable income in the hobby were all born in the WotC era. They were kids pulling base set Charizard, you know, Team Rocket, like Dark Blastoise, stuff like that. Those were the cards that they were pulling on the playground. So those stories that I just shared, those nostalgic stories, that's what they have towards WotC, which is why WotC saw that huge uptick in the past like 5 years. That age group was hitting the ability to buy back these cards from their childhood, and the money came along with it. But WotC has a lot more out there than EX era and Diamond and Pearl. So when we start to buy back these cards, I think the market is gonna dry up real quick. So I'm gonna go over something. Hold on, I have a base set Charizard. Sorry, this is poor quality. I probably should have gotten this ahead of time. There's Charizard somewhere in here. Okay, so this PSA Charizard. This is like the most desirable card for the old guys in the hobby. When I say old, they're like 30 and 40, but still, like, this was their chase. Base set Charizard. Currently at PSA, there are 525,000 base set cards graded. That includes first edition, shadowless, unlimited, and the oddball things like Trainer Deck A, Trainer Deck B. 525,000. And you still see this fairly large price for these holos. Like 9s are going for well over $100. I don't know the exact market on these. I know the Charizard 8 is like a $400 or $500 card, and there are thousands of the Charizard. And that's only one generation's worth of demand. But when you look at EX, let's look at EX Ruby and Sapphire. I have an EX Ruby and Sapphire card here. Let's get Charizard out of the way. This Scyther, EX Ruby and Sapphire. I've got a Beautifly, a holo off to the side. By the way, I'm collecting PSA 8s just because they're cheap. I can get them for like $30 each, and I like the art, and the holo is still beautiful. I don't need the 9 for the extra couple hundred. But Ruby and Sapphire, in total at PSA, 8,687. So let's just call it 9,000 just to be an even number. 9,000 Ruby and Sapphire cards in total, compared to 525,000 base set. So when my age group starts buying this stuff up, it's gonna go real quick. When people were buying up WotC was hitting PSA in tidal waves. So the market was able to keep up with the demand for the most part. Until COVID hit, then it kind of spiked for a bit and you saw that drastic change. But is the market going to be able to keep up with an entire generation that wants their cards back from their childhood? Only 6,000, 5,000, 7,000 EX Ruby and Sapphire. I'm looking ahead. I have some notes on the side. So EX Ruby and Sapphire, 8,600. EX Emerald. Let's talk about EX Emerald. EX Emerald is the lowest print run in the EX era. So I have an EX EX Emerald Melodic here. EX Emerald only has 5,927 cards graded in total in the set. That is 1% of base set. 1%. Most of the holos in this set have less than 100 copies in total graded. So when we're buying these cards back, if 100 people want my Melodic from EX Emerald number 8, they're gone like that. They're off the market. I'm not selling this anytime soon. That one card, it's off the market. So that's one less of the one. I don't know the exact number, but it's around 100. That's one less off the market. So unless there are people sitting on dozens of these waiting to hit PSA, I think this is going to get real crazy real soon. And I really don't think many people are sitting on very many. This was such a low point in the hobby. It was the lowest point. Like after Gen 3, the Pokemon was worried that they were gonna have to stop making games, because Gen 1, Gen 2 sold. Gen 1 sold very well. Gen 2 sold pretty well, Gen 3 didn't sell well at all. Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, those games didn't sell very well, which is why they're so expensive now. They're more expensive than Red and Blue as like raw cartridges. And don't even get me started on like Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. There were not a lot of these out there. Not a lot of people were buying them. My age group was, but my age group, our fan base was a lot smaller than there was for a base set. So I have a Diamond and Pearl card here just to show you guys a little bit of variety. But I primarily collect the EX. So that's why I want to talk to you guys about today. I want to see like, what do you guys think about this? Because just looking at the numbers, comparing only 6,000 EX Emerald compared to 525,000 base set, like it can't sustain itself. Something's got to give. Either a ton are gonna hit PSA, which I doubt because they haven't hit them yet, or the market's just gonna swallow them up. So yeah, what do you guys think about that? How do you guys view the EX era and Diamond and Pearl era? I want to hear if you guys were in the era that you were kids during this time. I want to hear what you think about it. Are you kind of buying back your childhood like I am, or if you're older, if you grew up in the WotC era, how do you view EX? Because if you don't have the nostalgia to it that I do, how are you viewing it as a collectible? I don't really want to go into too much as like this is a pure investment because we have such an emotional connection to it. It's more about how do you view it as the item that you enjoy. But yeah, let me know what you think. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have. Take care. Bye.